This was a hunt to remember. That's just the easiest way to say it.
So right now what we're doing is we're trying to spot and find a big bull and put him more to bed so we know where he's at. And if he's by a water source, we can go and sit the water source since it's supposed to be 99 today. And if not, we'll put a play on them in the evening when they get up and move. We're trying to spot a good bull that's worth going after instead of blowing a bunch of energy to just walk around and put a lot of scent out. We're trying to spot them and then we'll go after them. Across the canyon, John just spotted a really big 6x. He's with about 15 cows. So he's low on the hill. We're just gonna watch him and see where they end up bedding and see if they're in a good spot to go after him.
He's wallowed up too, full of mud.
The advantage that we're gonna have here, if we get in these bulls when we do, that big smaller one is one that you can call in.
Nasty plume of smoke just kind of stayed out on the ridge, and it was getting hotter, and the wind picked up directly at us from that plume of smoke, and so we got back to the lodge, had a little lunch, and walked out, and the sky was full of smoke, and there was ash starting to come down on our vehicles, and the guys were checking the Forest Service, and they're like, get ready for emergency evacuation. We are not going to go out tonight. That wind is not good. If it jumps this one particular creek, can't remember the name of it, we got to get out of here immediately.
So Mother Nature threw us a curveball today. 100-degree weather, 20-mile-per-hour winds, and we have a wildfire to the west of us. It's about 6 miles away right now. So we're calling off the hunt for tonight, kind of safety first.
Now this morning, that fire is still ablaze and spreading as officials work to get that situation under control.
According to the U.S. Forest Service, the Bridger Foothills fire is still active, reporting 0% containment. Residents have been evacuated from Bridger Canyon, Kelly Canyon, and Jackson Creek due to the growing fire. As of this morning, all unaccounted residents were reported safe. Some of the biggest concerns now, winds that are picking up and the fire approaching Bridger Bowl Ski Resort, and of course, structure damage. On Sunday afternoon, responders held a public meeting and said the cooler weather in the forecast should help, but won't solve all the problem.
Day 2, we're back on what we call Poacher's Knob, where we were yesterday. Fire blew up yesterday, and a lot of smoke in the valley. It's about 6 miles away, but we heard a couple bulls in the upper Sawmill Canyon, so we're going to put an eyeball on them and see what they are. More to come.
Fire was settling down, but we knew rain was coming Monday, and so we stuck it out.
So this evening, say 6 o'clock, supposed to be 85 degrees. Wind out of the pretty much west.
So if the fire's under control, we should be okay. We might get some smoke. There's our guy.
Come back out.
Yep, it's Crown Royal.
Same spot.
Yep, he just pushed those 2 little guys that are moving right left to right. And he's going up to the guy by the tree.
Oh, gotcha. You see him. I'd want to be at that water tank by 5:30. 5. I mean, why not?
What's that?
Why not? earlier the
Well,
better.
I was gonna say maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, so you're there.
You can, if you can fucking sit motionless for 4 hours, because you won't be able to move at all. I mean, you literally have to just hunker in, which is fine. I mean, as long as you can do that, it's not a problem at all. I'm willing to go whatever time. Tough water hole, it's a 50-yard job, I can tell you that. Because it's real open. So you got to get up against the fir trees, about 50 yards.
Well, this morning we got out here right at daybreak, and same spot we were yesterday morning. And took a little while to find them, but they were up on the same ridge that saw them yesterday, just a little bit higher, and waited them out for about 3 hours, and finally saw Crown Royal right at the end of the day, or at the end of the sit, and we came up with a plan to walk back out over later this afternoon over a water hole and sit up and see if when he gets thirsty, he doesn't get a little more than he bargained for. So that's the plan for the afternoon.
So we're gonna head down here. We put that big bull to bed again this morning, so we're gonna head down the tree line. We got about a mile hike, dump into Sawmill, sneak up the creek bottom, and we should be able to get to the water hole that's sitting about 150 yards away from where they should be bedded. So we'll have to just creep down there slowly and get set up and go kill that big bull.
Found Crown Royal and a couple of his buddies early this morning and watched them go to bed after the morning. There was still a little bit of fear of the fire, what that effect was going to be, but it turns out that it kind of settled down and went to the southeast of us. Went back out there about 4 o'clock, sit on a water hole near where we thought they'd be coming back to, and spent about an hour and a half there, and heard some bugling and some movement, and they began to move up the mountain to the southwest, and we tried to chase them down, did a little bit of calling, got fairly close, but nothing doing, and we're starting to talk a little bit, which is nice, and so we can at least locate them easier. Did get fairly close to a 6 point, but it wasn't one that we were looking for. Sounds like tomorrow it's supposed to be rain and kind of miserable, so we got some weather moving in. We're going to go to a different valley in the morning they call Elk Valley, and going to give just a couple of shooter 6 points in there that Casey, one of the guides, has found for us, and so we're going to go over there and give it a shot in the morning, and it's supposed to be about 40 degrees in the morning. It was 89 today, and rain, and get down to 27 tomorrow night. So we're going to have a complete weather change. So we'll see what happens in the morning.
We knew these elk were working this valley, so we got up above them with a good wind, and sat there at a water tank and had a couple cows go by. pre-rut, you got to do more raking and calling for those bulls because they don't come in on cow calls. So I had Casey do some raking, I did some calling. Really nice bull come in, but did not offer us a shot. And then when we were up there, we heard another bull, so as we were coming down, snuck in on another bull.
Close but no cigar, I guess is the right way to say it. Got my gut going, or my heartbeat up a couple times, and didn't get a good eye on that first bull, but did get a decent eye on that second one. He was a good six. So yeah, Ed's doing everything he can to get us in the right spot, and Casey's helping out a ton, and they're in here. We just got to close the deal. Just nothing offered us a shot yet today, so I'm optimistic for tonight, though. The weather's looking good, and we're gonna get them.
Temperature dropped, and it started raining about 9 o'clock. Rain turned to snow by noon, and we went out for the evening hunt in 6 inches of snow and 25 degrees. Actually, probably my favorite day of the hunt, because it was, we walked in on a herd of elk, and we got to see the calves playing around in the snow, and just got to see these amazing animals and their noses work. We got bumped. Their noses found us before we could get in on them.
So last night we went up to the top to see where they tried to sneak in while it was snowing and blowing on a herd up on the top of the ridge near the forest line, and bumped a herd of about 80. They winded us before we could get a chance of getting anywhere. So tonight, or this morning, overnight, the elk all came down to lower elevations where there wasn't that much snow cover, and now they're on their way back up to the top into the forest. And so what we're going to try to do is intercept them on the way back up into the trees to further bedding, and we'll see if we can get in front of them and get a shot on one.
When he did stop at 55 yards, I thought John was going to get a shot, and then he turned, and I thought, I think we missed a shot.
Stopped broadside at 55, and I drew back. I couldn't see my pins because there was too much daylight coming through them, and the bull was, I knew where the pins would be, but I just didn't have a shot, and I had to think about it for a minute. Then he moved right away, and then he just jumped the fence and committed to coming up. And Ed always said, just when I hit the cow call, he'll stop, then you let the arrow go. And I had a clear shot. He was about 25 yards, and he didn't quite stop, and I didn't really have a shot there. I drew back, didn't really have a shot. And then he kept coming to where Ed had been raking the trees. He was going to go and have a little showdown with Ed, and as he came by, Ed gave me the 20-yard signal and hit the cow call. Arrow went and looked like a good shot.
Tracked him for about another half mile, and we stopped, and I said, let's give him an hour. We'll check this last spot. My confidence was pretty good because I found dead bulls in the same exact spot before. And when we went down through there and he never stopped, that's when I started saying, okay, now he's covering too much ground.
This morning, as you heard the story from John, that he shot a bull, we found out that when he shot, he hit the top of a spruce tree, so it caused the arrow to kick a little bit. So we think we got one lung and then hit the liver. So we tracked him for about a mile and a quarter. He got in with a bunch of other elk, so we had to back out. It's about 6 hours later. We're going back in and see if we can find him. Should be able to find him. I think he's going to be within 400 yards of where we left him, because he hadn't bedded down for probably about a half mile. So we'll go and find him and get some pictures.
Out this morning, we came back to the same spot that we were where we last lost his track, and there were so many tracks down in this little basin that we couldn't pick it up, and just decided to walk out after about 4 hours or 5 hours. And anyway, so then Ed and Richie came up with a plan, and spent some time coming up with a game plan to flush him out, and then we'd all hunt this house. They would hunt the hillside, and then we would try to comb it and see if we figured he was already dead, and we sent Richie and Scott up the hill where we thought he probably went up to, and we were in the basin where we last saw him, or last lost his track, and then he came down the hillside right at us, working his way into the wind, and we could tell it was him right away. He was hurting pretty bad, and stopped at we were under a tree. He couldn't really see us, and he stopped about 89 yards, I think. Casey said he was about 89 yards, and started flinging arrows. the worst part of hunting, is watching that. Especially 6 hours later, 8 hours later. Yeah, you always try to aim small and miss small. You know, but sometimes it just ain't in the cards. You know, sometimes it's just it doesn't go like planned. It's crazy. Every other elk I've killed has been basically instant, and especially with a bow, it's part of the reason I like actually archery hunting better. Is it's usually quicker and cleaner, and just that one little twig. You know, just one little twig, and it's the difference between quick clean harvest and chasing them for 7-8 hours. Well, that's a tough old hombre, I'll tell you that much.
To any hunter, you know, we all have our own reasons for hunting. We all have our own moments of why we hunt, what we do. You know, the Relive It is a way to remember it differently, you know, because it's one of these things where you take pictures, you have memories, you look at the pictures and you smile. And then, but the pictures don't remember every moment. And, you know, and this is actually, if I had to be really honest about it, was hands down my worst retrieval ever. But it reminded me why I like to hunt, you know, what respect I have for the animals, and it just culminated in something that I'll remember the pictures, I'll remember the hunt, but when I think when you look back on things in a different light, you know, eventually I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. I'm maybe got 10 years of good hunting in me, maybe. Maybe it's 20 years, I don't know. But I know that someday I'm not going to be able to. Someday I'm going to be likely laying in a nursing home or sitting in my rocking chair. But I'll remember that hunt. And my ginger friend said, Chris, he said, man, dude, this is one of the craziest hunts I've ever seen in my life, and I filmed for 20 years. And I tell you what, it was my craziest hunt ever. Just every emotion you can think of, every, you know, temperature swings to crazy stuff happening, and it's all on video. You know, this will be something that, you know, if somebody, a friend wants to understand something about hunting, or maybe it's somebody new, what are some of the emotions you go through? It's not what you see on TV. That's all a bunch of hogwash. True hunting is camaraderie. It's, man's place in nature from eons in creation. It's, just enjoying nature, understanding what these animals we pursue, just understanding what they live in, how they survive. And every time I go hunting, I become more in awe. And I never expected this. It's one of those things where I learned a long time ago, you just live. And had a great hunt, crappy retrieval experience, don't ever want to do that again. And I just vowed to myself today that I have to do better shooting. I have to become a better hunter. And people would say I've been a successful hunter or whatever, but I don't want to have an animal go through that again, but I don't want to quit hunting, because it's just one of those we are part of nature. Human beings are a part of nature, and this is our place. And we're experiencing it with the animals. We're experiencing it with friends, with the guides, my buddies, the people that I know, family. We get to eat more, like I tell everybody, lean organic protein that I harvest for my family because I love them so much. And wink, wink. But it's just an incredible experience, and hopefully one day my grandkids can watch this and understand who Grandpa was. So, yeah, it's been more than I ever expected.
Huge. Oh, it's a big that counts. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Good.
Das Horn.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great end to a victorious.
Oh man.
Who put the
There's
fucking
something
tequila
floating in
in there
there.
or something in there?
Drink it. It's all part of it.
It's alcohol.
That's the LSD.
The alcohol cuts it. It's good.
Oh, that's right.
Disinfects it.
Yeah, that was serious pure.
That's it.
Right there.
Good job, man.
Big bull down.
Big
Mission
bull.
accomplished.